writes on this, right? This is what he wants his views to be represented with guns and bullets and force and people going into jails that don't agree with him. So this is why this guy's a total fraud. Hello and welcome to another video. In today's video, YouTube served this guy up to me. And so I watched a couple of his videos and I found him to be extremely hypocritical. And his message has changed over the years. Fascinating. He seemed to be like a self-help guy back in here. A bunch of self-help videos. A long time on YouTube. 9 years. Tons of videos. But where he seems to really have found his calling in making fun of certain things in society, which on a couple points I actually agree with this guy. Like the whole transgender people, like being, I think this video here, the best female swimmer in the world is actually a guy, right? So yeah, I totally agree with him there. I agree with him that fat is not attractive, and this whole like fat models thing that is whacked, right? So you look at the thing. So a guy like me could start watching somebody like this, and let's see what his latest video.
Good evening, person that we treat like a moron. Get ready to stop thinking for yourself as we tell you what you should think for your protection and our control. And to be inclusive, I'd like to share that my propaganda words are he, him, climate crisis, and stands with Ukraine. Tonight, we'll be feeding you bullshit about monkeypox, the sequel to the pandemic.
Okay, so it's pretty obvious that he's kind of morphed into like a little Alex Jones type person, but with a little more polish and panache than Alex Jones, right? But still, very Alex Jones-esque, right? So he's beating up on Biden, and I'm not going to say that he doesn't make some good points about Biden and isn't funny.
Continue to be your most trusted source of fear-mongering as we give you authoritarian commands to obey. But what we can tell you about the monkeypox outbreak that definitely wasn't planned is that Alex Jones predicted it.
There you go. Well, I would have to say to that Alex Jones has probably predicted everything, right? I mean, the shotgun approach to predictions. So that's good. And then we go here. And so here he's going at this Ukraine flag in, right? And just the way his verbiage and frame.
For devolving world of Marxism,
Right. You see this? So he thinks the world is turning into Marxist, when in all actuality, we have two right-wing parties in this country. We have the GOP, which is extremely right-wing, with fascist elements. Then we have the Democrats, which is just basically a little bit right of center. But to this guy, he thinks it's
DC Drano, aka Rogan O'Hanley, points out in the ever-devolving world of Marxism.
There you go. It's Marxism, right? That's why the world is devolving, is Marxism. But just because like we don't beat up on gay people, I mean, the society as general, like that was how gay people generally got treated. The farther you go back, the more that is their reality. So in my opinion, there's three types of gay people. There's a born type of gay people, which Mother Nature is saying don't breed. Then you have gay by trauma, and you have gay by choice, okay? So that's just the facts about gay people. Now, what is this guy's stance? His stance right here is that
pronoun people have now added yellow and blue stripes to show support for Ukraine.
Okay, so we have one example, but to this guy, This represents every single person in this world. And because I don't think gay people should be beat up and ostracized, right? I don't think they should be celebrated either. So I'm not sure if he would lump me into this. But he, just because one person posted one thing to this guy here, it's all of them. And I'll tell you why that is because in the Republican world, they are on messaging. They are on messaging so tight that you can literally go from Republican news pundit to Republican politician and hear the identical thing over and over and over. When that, whatever it is a hot button moment, they are all on their communication thing tight. So that is something that isn't reality with anybody else other than that group in this country. The fact that they all can keep their lies straight so tight just shows that they're the ones that are being told what to think. Because you don't hear the echo chamber anywhere else. Like, it's quite insane.
But gay marriage is banned in Ukraine. Some people mistakenly think that the
Okay, so here's a big one of the, gay marriage is banned in Ukraine. So if you're a gay person and you're standing with Ukraine, you must be some kind of brainwashed idiot. Not somebody that thinks that maybe if Ukraine's democracy is stable long enough, they might come to the point where they're okay with gay people getting married. And personally, I don't care, right? I want the truth about gay people out, which is if you're born gay, Mother Nature is telling you not to breed, period, okay? And Mother Nature is the reality. The God people that this guy subscribes to are the fake.
pronoun people are blindly standing for both because they're under some kind of mind control program. But we assure you.
So you can't be with Ukraine and be, okay? So this guy's, and anybody who would be, you're blind. You're not thinking for yourself just because there might be gay people, right? So, I mean, the intolerance here is just disgusting. And like how this guy gets to rock long hair, right? And let's talk about Black Rifle Company. One of the most, this is a conservative company, right? The funniest thing about it is like one of their earliest commercials, the guy says that Joe Rogan is their idol. Joe Rogan's a liberal. So,
that is just not the case. And speaking of the trendiness, to pretend that other people's objective reality, he is transphobic. He thinks like a liberal and is completely unwilling to think like a leftist. And we don't want you to know the difference or how to think. But we have a solution. From the makers of Zoloft, we bring you Testicle Off. Testicles are a proven cause of infertility, but with Testicle Off, and this is the president. Kamala Harris is at it once again, redundantly using words that lead nowhere so that we can get somewhere that isn't anywhere. Take a look.
That when we talk about the children of the community, they are the children of the community.
Well, we know that at least two people are impressed by what she said.
Okay, so right there, he is initially saying that, it's just some crazy nonsense coming out of her mouth. But then,
the individual, we're coming for your children, but you won't notice because we're starting.
Right. He's going back and referencing now the Kamala Harris part that he initially said was just some kooky, I have no idea what she's talking about. What is she talking about? But now he's like, oh, we're coming for your children, but you won't notice because of the next pandemic, right?
You didn't the right people because you're done, Nina. That's it for tonight's news. Tune in tomorrow to become an even more flaccid individual. We're coming for your children, but you won't notice because we're starting the next pandemic.
See that? Okay, right? So, very contradictory, but here's where it gets just to the point of hypocritical. This guy, he's like, the gun guy, we just need more guns. Here's a picture of the guns, right? So just what is the number of the guns? We have more than one gun per person in the country. At what point does the freedom click in? Okay, that's my question for this guy, right? But here's he wants freedom from everybody, and he wants the government out of your hair, and he doesn't want, kids to be a part of the community. But here's what he does.
Good night. Real quick, I want to let
you. Boom. So he wants armed thugs, basically. In my opinion, anybody that uses a gun for a living is just a thug. So, I mean, thug for good in some cases. That's maybe a little bit of an overgeneralization, okay? Because I see a future where we don't need guns at all. So, unfortunately, we do now to a certain extent, but if we start to eliminate them now, but you got to solve all the societal problems first. I mean, it's a deep conversation. But the essence of what's going on here is this guy wants the criminal justice system to impose his rights on this, right? This is what he wants his views to be represented with guns and bullets and force and people going into jails that don't agree with him. So this is why this guy's a total fraud, a total fake, 100%. He doesn't give a shit about freedom. He gives a shit about his kooky freaking fantasy world, religious fantasy world he lives in, okay? Where he probably thinks he's fucking Jesus or something. I don't know. But the fact of the matter is that he goes on and on and on and on and on about freedom, but he wants to take over 50% of the people's freedoms in this country away from them. This guy isn't about freedom. He is a freaking fascist thug that just thinks he's funny, okay? There is no freedom with this thought pattern, okay? This is just polishing an old turd. There is nothing good with this guy. All right, like and subscribe. Peace.